Welcome to Love and Murder. I'm your host Ky, along with my host Char. Grandparents are usually very happy to see their grandchildren. They give them candy, spoil them, give them the shirts off of their back. And what do their grandchildren give them? Some return the love, and some stab them in the back. Literally. Tonight's story will make you hug your grandparent tight. But be careful, not too tight. Let's discuss The Bad Seed, the case of Brittney Dwyer, right here on Love and Murder.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Love and Murder. I am your host, Ky, along with my host, Char, the illustrious, the effervescent,
I like it.
the
Keep
gorgeous, the beautiful, the
Keep
sexy.
going.
I don't
Keep
know.
going.
This is kind of getting weird now.
It is getting weird. Do you have a secret Char fetish? I mean, that we want to talk about?
I mean,
with our
I'm
listeners?
not into women, but you may sway me. I don't know.
But I can be on Fridays, you know. You can be. Hello, everyone. Yes, okay, I'm here. Oh, that was fun. It all comes out.
I know, right?
The more,
I've been waiting to tell you this for the last 7 years, Char.
No, you know that little public service announcement on television. Have you seen it? It always says, "The more you know," and they show this rainbow banner.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome to Love and Murder, our show that is about relationship crime gone terribly wrong. And when I say terribly wrong, Char, how wrong do I mean?
She means dead wrong.
Dead wrong,
Ooh,
y'all.
I like that one. May I put that this week? Put a little punch in there, a little slice.
So we discuss relationships between, I don't know. Usually we're talking about husbands and wives, boyfriends and girlfriends. But tonight's crazy episode, which is about greed and stupidity. This crazy episode, we're actually going to be talking about family relationship crime. Like the case that we did of Jennifer Pan on episode 12.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, that was a batshit crazy episode.
Definitely.
You should go ahead and visit our site, www.murderandlove.com, to check that episode out. Again, that's episode 12. So tonight's episode, like I said, will focus on family relationships, and it's crazy. And I'm just going to let y'all know, just sit down while you're listening to this one. Sit down.
Yeah, make yourself at home. Grab your popcorn, get comfortable, your blanket.
Hug your loved ones.
Your blankie, your dog.
Kiss your children.
Your cat. Definitely kiss your children goodnight.
Check out our podcast on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Apparently, the most popular place for our podcast to stream is on Spotify, so check us out on Spotify if you want.
Do so.
Follow us on social media. The links will be in the bio, and we'll say it at the end of the show. I don't like to take up the beginning of the show with saying links, but if you feel like hearing me say it instead of just reading it in the bio, you can definitely wait till the end of the show, and I will let you know our podcast links. If you want bonus episodes of the craziest true crime stories, relationship Q&A, and Char's crazy stories, then you know what? Visit us on YouTube. Go to our YouTube. We're about to drop some crazy stuff over there.
Yay! New
Go
platform,
over to
everybody.
our YouTube,
yeah.
Search for Love and Murder. And you'll, like I said, the link will actually be in the bio, in the show notes below. So go ahead and just click on the link there, subscribe, and you won't want to miss this. It's absolutely free. You don't got to do nothing. Just click, subscribe, and wait for the shows to drop. That's it. If you've listened to our show before and you like it, then please go to Apple Podcasts, hit that purple button, and give us 5 stars, 5. Say whatever you want in the description. And what it does, it helps bring us up in the charts. And after this episode, I don't know, there's going to be one or two things that's going to happen, Char. You might either run to Apple Podcasts and rate us like, oh my God, or you might run away from this show because, oh my God.
I'm crossing my fingers on that one, but yeah, I agree. It's going to go one way or the other.
One way or the other. So anyway, without further ado, strap in, strap up, and let's get into tonight's show. What we're going to talk about today is the case of Brittney Dwyer. While I was writing this, I kept calling her Doer or something like that. And I was like, please don't let me say this on the show. But yeah, Brittney Dwyer. Brittney.
How is it spelled anyway?
Dwyer. It's spelled Dwyer, but I don't know why. I think I have a slight case of dyslexia because numbers, I always turn my numbers around. So I don't know what that's about. Maybe that's normal. Maybe I do have a slight case of dyslexia. I have no idea. But anyway, Brittney J. Dwyer was born in 1997, in New Zealand to Aaron and Tanya Dwyer. Now, I'm not sure where in New Zealand she was born. It doesn't go back that far. It doesn't tell us all that. But our story picks up in Brisbane, Australia. Now, Australia is someplace I really wanted to go.
Yeah, I want to come with you when you go. I'm so looking forward to that one day. Bucket list.
Yeah, I have some friends in Australia. I think this episode, this case, whatever, takes place in Adelaide. The only person I know from, two people I know from Adelaide, and they're both on TV. The first one is, have you seen that show? I forgot what it's called. It's called Reign, Mary Queen of Scots. It was on the CW.
I haven't seen it myself, no.
Okay. Well, the star of that show, she was from Adelaide. That was the first time I heard of it. And then on 90 Day Fiancé, I forgot the girl's name. My daughter is the one who's good at remembering names. I don't remember names. The girl who had purple and pink hair.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was from Adelaide. So those are the two people I know from Adelaide. My friends, they live in different parts of Australia. One is in the city and one is, she said it's in the bush, which is like the countryside. That's where she lives. And so I've asked both of them if they've ever seen like these spiders that's the size of your head, or these snakes that come out that can like eat a freaking kangaroo and stuff. So yeah, the one said they haven't heard of any of these things. I think it's just in the media that we hear of these snakes and these spiders and these alligator cricket things that fly people away. I don't know. I don't know what's happening in Australia.
Creepy. That's why I would only visit, and I would probably just stay in a nice hotel. But I wouldn't mind going to the bush areas, I guess they call them, way out there somewhere just for a tour or something. But, anything can crawl into your hotel room as well.
Oh, my God.
You've had an experience?
No, I'm just thinking about it. Like, you just wake up and the snake is wrapped around your foot or something?
Yeah, because remember, just like I tell other people that complain about, rodents and creepy crawlies that got into their house, guess what? It was their home, and you invaded it. So that's their home. So even if you are in a hotel, sure, a snake can get in your bed or the toilet when you're using the toilet.
And all it's doing is curling up to you for the heat because you're all warm under your covers.
Yeah, exactly. Can you blame it?
Yeah, but can you imagine, like, we're not thinking about that. All we see is a dangerous snake. Oh, my God, it's trying to eat me. And he's all confused because it was like, oh, my God, it was so warm. What happened?
Yeah, like, put the covers back up, lady. What are you doing?
I know.
Like, hello. I'll shed later, but just, this was nice. It was nice.
Yeah. So anyways, I wasn't able to find out much about her childhood, but her mother said that she was always strong-willed and an adventurous girl. She loved hanging out with her brother, whose name was Ryan, or whose name is, he's not dead, spoiler alert, whose name is Ryan Whitwell Dwyer. And she liked doing like a lot of rough and tumble activities with the boys. So like playing soccer. She really, really liked soccer. They called her a tomboy, but I don't know. In this atmosphere, do people like using that word tomboy? Oh, because she likes to do sports, should she be considered close to a boy?
Well, I mean, if it's excessive sports and say that her aesthetically, if she just prefers sneakers and maybe like more of a boyish look and maybe a short haircut, then people would say tomboy. But if you just like sports, I think that's great to be well-rounded as a woman.
So basically, minus the short hair, you just described me. So I'm a tomboy?
Right. Yes.
No.
Yes.
No, I'm not.
Well, no, because a brainiac and a tomboy is kind of like right on the edge of each other, I think. And so it makes you kind of a nerd.
No,
a brainiac, a nerd, a tomboy.
Who like to do their nails and hair and makeup and stuff. What are you talking about?
Well, that would actually be myself, moi. But anyway, Okay, I get your
I know
point.
you couldn't see me, but I was rolling my eyes so hard.
You guys, I fake the airhead, but I'm super super well read and educated. So trust me, yes.
I'm doing
But
air quotes.
air quote away.
Anyways, on the outside, it looked like Brittney, was just gonna grow up to be a very happy, well-adjusted young lady. She was actually raised in a very settled house. She had her mother and her father there, where there was no divorce. She had her brother, so really stable domestic life, no known trouble at home. Everything was well. As a child, she was very, very happy. She loved going to school. She had many friends, but all that kind of changed.
What happened?
As Brittney grew into her teenage years, she ended up becoming more distant from her family. But to be fair, this seems like normal behavior for teenagers. Am I wrong?
Okay. No, it's not. I mean, I agree. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why.
They're so flighty and just so just they shift a lot with their moods or their interests. Yeah, it's perfectly normal.
It's probably like hormones.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Like,
to blame.
Personally, I matured more slowly than the other girls in my high school. Like physically and mentally, I matured more slowly. In the sense that I still played with my younger brothers up until I was in 12th grade. Like when I say played with them, like I went outside in the woods and we would pick up sticks and we'd start playing war and stuff like that.
You're kidding. At 12th grade? In 12th
Well,
grade?
no, up until 12th grade. So like 11th grade,
Oh, okay.
10th
So
grade,
11th grade?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
We would recreate movies like Mortal Kombat. So we would do all the fight scenes and stuff like that.
That actually sounds like fun.
We would bike. So like we lived in a cul-de-sac on the bottom of a hill. So we would bike up the hill and we would take a jump rope and tie it to somebody's seat, and then we had a skateboard. So one person would hold on to the jump rope, one person would bike, and one person would be standing on the skateboard. And we would just go down the hill as fast as we could. And then when you got to the circle, you turn, and the person on the skateboard would let go of the rope and just keep going. So fun.
Okay, there must be a whole science to all of this, because you totally remember, like, logistically how it was put together.
Of
I'm
course,
like,
because we had to plan it out and then we had to do it. Yeah.
Okay, wow.
So, yeah, I did all that up until 12th grade. Then in 12th grade, I just suddenly out of the blue, I didn't feel like hanging with them anymore. I just felt like, seriously, I was too old to be playing games with them. That's when I quit martial arts too, because I was like, I'm too old for this bull. And I don't know,
I
it just
meant
came
to
out of
ask
nowhere.
you that. So, listeners, Ky and I had something in common with, okay, now tell me again, I was karate kung fu. You did what again?
I
Karate
did two
and
different styles of karate and one style of taekwondo.
Did you do the boxing too? Because I did kickboxing as well, which is really the part of the kung fu.
No, I didn't do kickboxing. I did kickboxing as a workout later on in life, but
okay. So we both sparred, listeners, and we both had our karate. Well, I was a little later in life because I was in my mid 20s, and we both were so good that okay. Now, what happened with you? Because I was asked to be an assistant instructor, but your instructor said something. I think he was kind of like,
I could only
take me down,
I could
or
only
what happened?
spar with the instructor because I was I hit too hard. I punched
Advanced
too hard. I
or
kicked too hard for people
okay.
my age, whether it
too aggressive,
whether it be male or female. And,
wow.
Yeah, so he would only let me spar with him, and then he wanted to put me in tournaments, but I didn't want to go in tournaments because when I want to fight without you stopping.
You can't have it like structured and
In martial arts tournaments, once you get a hit, they stop you, and that would piss me off. So I didn't want to do tournaments.
Well, we definitely have that in common. That's interesting. Okay, well, yeah okay.
So just like Brittney, just out of the blue, I just started feeling like I was too old for this. So it has to be a teenage thing. I don't know. You have a son. Did that happen with your son?
With karate kung fu?
No, just like how his emotions changed, his personality changed when he was a teenager.
I don't know, because he was consistent. Because the one thing that he liked the most, he absolutely despised physical sports. So when we did the karate and the kung fu, he hated it so much. But he was only about 7 then, and he did it for a couple of years. He hated it. He was like, I don't want to do it. It's too hard. They make me work out and exercise. I hate it. That's what he said.
Oh my God.
And so, but the thing is, when he was only 10, he became a, okay, let me make this quick. So he was a DJ at age 11, okay, and 12, like a DJ in his junior high. And then his dad and I were asked to have him DJ at actual nightclubs in New York City. And we were like, no, because he's not going to be out that late and he's not an adult, right? That's an adult environment. So what he did consistently was not sports, but music. So he moved up at 10 or 11. He was selling out of all the stores in New York, New Jersey. When I say all the stores, all of the accounts he had. And back then they were called tapes. And then they moved up to CDs. So anyway, performing and managing. Once he did become a teenager, he was managing and producing music for other recording artists. So he never did the whole sports thing. I mean, he did a little bit, but it was never his thing. Like, okay, just imagine. He played soccer and his dad was the soccer coach. My son would kick the ball to the other team. Like, that's how bad it was. So so the only reason he would have any interest in different sports is because I'm trying to push it.
Yeah, but it's not just sports I'm talking about. I'm saying like his
Well,
personality.
what do you mean? What's
did
another
he become
example?
Like more distant as a teenager, or?
Oh yeah, but that's normal though. That's
what
normal.
I'm trying to figure out, if that's normal for them to do that.
Oh yeah, so so Kai's referring to literally a personality shift. It's hormones. Mostly. And, because also don't forget, when you're a teenager, you're getting close to wanting to establish your own identity, or at least that's what nature says. And so it's like a war going on with inside. So that's perfectly normal. For any parents who are like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. Why is it changed? He doesn't want to hang out with me or talk to us anymore and do things with us. And it's not personal. Please know, as they get much older, it comes back around and they want to hang out with their parents or their family or do different things because they love you. But yeah, it's all part of the natural process of puberty. Mm. And that's coming from Dr. Char.
Yeah. So basically, Dr. Char, just everybody scrub your mind of what she said. She's not a real doctor.
But I do play one on TV. See, there's a difference.
Anyway, so Brittney did this, and because she was like really distant, and I guess her personality started changing from that of a happy one to that of someone who was just like, they just were a loner. She started finding it like really hard to fit in at school, and she was a loner. Then she found it hard to fit in at school. This made her more of a loner, so she started isolating herself from her I don't want to say her friends, but her peers. But this made it even harder on her, because then the kids started to bully her, because you know how mean children are.
Yes.
As time went on, she found a kindred dark spirit in a friend named Shelby Lee Holmes. And when she found this friend, so I guess she finally had a friend. When she found this friend, her mother hoped that, this friend would help bring Brittney back to her normal, happy, bubbly self. However, what she didn't know at the time was Brittney was struggling to come to terms with depression, and she kind of had formulated an obsession with all things dark. What do you think that means, Char? All things dark.
Witchcraft. It means witchcraft.
You think so? I mean, it could mean just like she liked blood and.
No, it means that she was interested in dibbling and dabbling with the occult at some point. I'm sure that's where the interest led. It could just stay with dark things like black cats and blood and maybe wearing a vial of blood, or just, black nail polish and listening to the hardest core acid rock music she could possibly find, and, spiking her hair and be black lipstick and you could just go through a rebellious phase and it stops there. But often it opens a door. So if I'm right, I want to hear it.
We'll see.
Because listeners, I promise you, I do not know this particular. I don't know, Ky. If I'm lying, I'm flying. I don't know this episode. I don't know this story. I don't know this case. I haven't researched it. Excuse me. Which I do research. Plenty of our cases, but Ky is all over this one. So am I right? I don't know anything about
Char
it.
doesn't know anything about it.
Okay, I don't.
It's
all speculation. It's all speculation on my end.
So basically, she started getting this obsession. So basically, Tanya's her mom. She said that Brittney went from happy child to self-harming, violence, and death obsessed as a teen. She spent a lot of time watching murder documentaries, which basically sounds like me as an adult. Well, the murder documentary part, anyway. So even though her mother hoped that Brittany's new friend would bring her sweet little girl back, Shelby actually had a fascination with knives, blood, and violence, which in turn helped bring Brittany even further down the dark rabbit hole.
Oh my God, this is horrible. So opposed to witchcraft, it just sounds like possession. Especially the self-harm and all that. It's crazy. That's not
It
normal.
doesn't sound like possession.
It does. It's like they both needed an exorcism, if you ask me.
It just sounds like they have some mental issues that they need counseling for or something. That doesn't sound like possession. Good Lord. I'm so happy you weren't born in the 1800s, because you'd be like, witch! Like, good Lord.
Witch! I would look, everyone that went past me, including all my neighbors, they wouldn't stand a chance. Witch! Burn them at the stake!
Good Lord. Somebody would sneeze.
Yes.
Oh my God, witch!
I know, anything. And don't wear black. Don't wear black, okay, for any reason, because I'm definitely going to say you're a witch back then.
Oh, good Lord.
The poor people of Salem, yeah.
So Brittany and Shelby
Anyway.
would often visit cemeteries. They would talk and obsess about blood and knives. They constantly text each other, which that part is totally not out of the ordinary for teenage girls. They're constantly on their freaking phone. That was something I was never into. And even to this day, I'm still not into. Like, my friends will try and call me and I'm like, can we text instead? I don't like
that. You know, that's actually very true. I'm not a friend, but I'm a friend, and I definitely can vouch for that. Ky would much rather text. She would much rather text, unless it's business and she just has to talk on the phone.
If it's a meeting and I need to get it out, then I need to get it out. But
yeah,
I'm not
like
on the phone for hours. If I'm on the phone for hours, it's because the other person's talking, and I'm literally like, wow.
Yes. Did I pay my electric bill? I'm like, you're off somewhere else, like, and they're still yep. Yeah. Remember Charlie Brown's teacher? Wah, wah, wah. That's what they're doing on that. Yeah, got it.
But
that's crazy.
With Shelby and Brittany, it's like the old saying goes: you are who you hang out with. There was obviously something about Shelby that caught Brittany's attention. It could probably be that she was the only one who was willing to hang with her. You know, when you're a child, it's easy to make friends. But as you grow up and come into yourself, friendships definitely become harder to make. You know, in high school, you're kind of like in this time where sheep start, like sheep. This is what I say. This is what I've observed. I'm an observer, even when I was a little child, teenager, now. So in high school, it's like where sheep flocks start forming. Everyone wants to be like the cool kids. And if you don't fit into that mold, did I say mold? Good Lord. If you don't fit into that mold, then
you're an outsider.
Yeah, the teens don't want to talk to you. If your person, and then
you have to be in the club.
Yeah, and then if your personality isn't a strong one, it's easy to get depressed and then just fall into the wrong crowd. So that's something that I noticed when I was in school. And then, you know, thinking about it as an adult, just, you know. So when I was in school, I didn't fit in. I was teased and bullied. I had some friends, and that was fine with me.
You were bullied?
I just had, I had.
But how were you bullied? Or did you bully back? I mean, that's what I want to know.
Well, let me finish telling you. So my friends were really like just the misfits of the school, like the people nobody else wanted to talk to. Which was okay
the leftovers.
I didn't really care, because I actually usually just wanted to be left alone so I could read my book. So I didn't really care.
Typical nerd, yes, nerd kid.
I just wanted to read my freaking book, so it didn't matter to me if I had friends or not. But then when I got to 10th grade, I just got tired of being teased. And that's where the Ky you love and know was born.
Okay, well, hello.
And so after a short time, people knew to stop messing with me, because you mess with me, you're going to find out what's going to happen. The teachers didn't mess with me. Faculty, staff, children, nobody messed with me. But the funny thing is, when I became mean, suddenly everybody wanted to be my friend. And
so you turned into Mean Ky?
I turned into Mean Ky because people wouldn't leave me alone.
Well, who are you now?
I'm just
mean.
You? Let me put it this way. I was always a butthole. And when my mom tells me the stuff I did when I was younger, like 3 and stuff, I was always a butthole. But I was also shy.
Mm-hmm.
So I internalized the buttholedness. And when I was in 10th grade, I externalized it. So now everybody's seeing it.
Okay, you know what? See, I can relate to the buttholeness. I'm going to tell you why, and especially the shyness, but yet buttholeness. Did I ever tell the listeners this, Kai? Correct me if I did. When I was 2 to 3 years old, I never spoke a word. I never talked ever under any circumstances. It got to the point where my mom was so worried. She was so concerned. She took me to her doctor. And my mom says, well, doctor, something's wrong with my child. He says, what is it? She goes, well, she sits in the corner cross-legged as if she's in timeout, even when she's done nothing wrong. And she doesn't speak, ever. If she's in a corner or not, she doesn't speak. And she just faces the wall in the corner cross-legged, like she's putting herself in timeout. So imagine how funny this is. The doctor goes, oh, don't worry. One day, she'll talk so much, you'll
Lord.
never be able to shut her up.
Your mom
But anyway,
should have held on to that time when you didn't talk. She should have held on to it for dear life.
But here's the kicker, though. This is where the buttholeness comes in. She told me that I was kind of an a-hole. She goes, but you were kind of like mean. And as a matter of fact, when I was 8 years old, I didn't like my stepdad. And he was 435 pounds. This man was, he was 6'8". 435, 6'8", and he was mean sometimes, you know. So I didn't like him. So I actually got a baseball bat one day, and I knocked him down an entire flight, and it was a long flight of stairs.
That's not mean. That's evil.
That's not mean?
That's
it's
evil.
Is it? Well,
Are
let
you
me
really
tell you
asking
why.
me that question? You took
No,
a
but
baseball
listen, but
bat
it was-
and knocked somebody down a flight of stairs?
Okay, but see, in my defense, I didn't mention this part because I didn't like how he was with my mother. I didn't like how he treated her. And my sister was such a coward. She's 4 years older than me. She would always cower in the corner, like, you know, just holding her knees, like sitting, like holding her knees and rocking herself, like just crying. And they're looking at me, and I'm the one that's only 8, you know. And so my grandmother's downstairs in the basement, like terrified, and she flew in from another state. Terrified. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to handle this. So guess what? The police come and they're trying to figure out who in the house they're going to arrest because we didn't know if he was conscious, unconscious, dead. And my mom's like, well, it was my 8-year-old daughter.
Damn, your mom dimed on you? Oh my God.
Yes. Well, I mean, but what, was she going to take the rap though? Maybe she could have. I didn't think of that.
Oh my gosh. She could have said he fell, landed on a baseball bat and knocked himself.
It was her. Well, I guess it just looked like for sure it was an adult, so she could have just ran with that. I don't know.
But see, you did it to protect people. I was just a butthole.
Well, no,
And
she
I
told
was
me
the
that,
same
but she
way.
said I
I
was
wasn't
mean,
exactly
though.
the same way, but I didn't talk. So I don't like talking now. Ironically, I have a freaking podcast, but I don't talk that
Ironically
much.
so.
I do not. You could ask Char. I do not talk that much. And when I was little, I really hated opening my mouth to say anything to the point where I made up my own sign language. And if you didn't understand me, then that was your problem.
Well, how old were you? Because I stopped at 3 or 4 when I finally started talking.
I don't
so
know.
how
I
were
just hear
you?
the stories from my family. I don't know. Other than that, I'll just stare at people. I still do it now. When somebody
That's
says
so
something
funny.
stupid,
You just stare.
dude, let me tell you the story. We got to get back to the show. But anyway, let me tell you the story.
Yes.
My bio father, it's a long story on how we met, and it wasn't me who was getting to meet him. I don't care about him. But anyway, somebody took me to meet him. In the middle of me getting there, they're like, oh, this is where we're going. If I could have rolled out of the freaking car, anyways, so we get there. My bio dad stands in front of me. I'm staring at him, and he pulls out a picture of when I was like 5 in kindergarten. You know those school pictures they send home and you cut them out and stuff?
Oh, of course. They still do
He
that.
pulls out a picture and he's like, I've had this in my wallet since the day it was given to me. When I tell you this thing looked like a crisp dollar bill that you just got from the bank 2 seconds ago, you know, by this time I was like 28. You pulling this crisp picture out and telling me you had this in your wallet for like 20 years at least?
It should have looked tattered or something.
Dude,
or old
it was
or something.
so new. Dude, I stood there and just stared at him while he's holding the picture up. I just stared at him. And I guess until he got uncomfortable and he just, you know, kind of was like, okay. And he just put it away. I don't like wasting my breath on people. Stupidity. I don't talk. So I'll just stare at you if you say something stupid.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Should we be on our own show, like as a case or something? I mean, at this point, we both had some children emotional issues or child emotional issues. Apparently we did. Everyone's going, wow, you guys were like that as kids and young people. Yeah, I guess so.
Well, if you want to hear more of our childhood, subscribe to our YouTube. We'll have
yeah,
some crazy
yeah.
stuff
Well,
out
we
there.
can just dedicate like an episode to that.
Dedicate.
Dedicated episode because apparently it's what it is. Yes.
Anyways,
it is.
Back to Brittney.
Yeah. Brittney's like, what about me?
Yeah, right.
Somebody,
so this would basically
it's about
explain
me.
why she got linked to Shelby and why she started following on what Shelby liked to do. So she kind of liked to do this already. Shelby was really into it. This was the only person that really spoke to her. And so she linked onto her and she started doing more of what Shelby liked to do instead of veering away from it. Now, as Brittney got older, the self-harm became more frequent. It was also reported that she began introducing drugs into her life, like weed, cocaine, ecstasy. You know what they were calling it weed? They were like, she would partake in cannabis. I was like, oh, good Lord. She was smoking weed. She often spoke about smoking an ounce of weed a day. Now, I have no concept of drugs at all. Even though I'm a butthole, people still said I was like this good girl because I don't smoke, drink, anything like that. And I wasn't really, I mean, I knew people who did it, but if you were doing it, I didn't hang around you. So is an ounce of weed a day, is that a lot?
Not if you're a weed head. It's like it's just where you're comfortable. It's almost like you have to, I mean, I know a lot about weed, I must say that. So I know a lot about it. I do not smoke it. I can't stand it. But I know a lot about it. So my ex-husband went to prison for that. He was on the front page of the paper for. He brought it into Pittsburgh. He brought it into the state of Pittsburgh at that time. 18 people went to prison for 14, 15
There's no
years.
state named Pittsburgh.
I mean, well, yes, there is in Char's world. He brought it into the state of PA in the city of Pittsburgh, and he was on the front page of the papers because of that. And so anyway, so that's one reason that I kind of like had to divorce him. But what I'm saying is, although I didn't smoke it, I understood everything else about it. My friends would come to me before they made a transaction with their weed guy. So yeah, if you're an avid weed smoker, you are appreciating an ounce a day. I mean, you're a little excessive, but it's consistent. So if that's what it is, yeah. Yeah.
Anyways.
So she must have loved it.
I'm pretty sure. When Brittney turned 18, she moved out of her mom's house and moved in with Shelby. Uh-oh. Now, there were allegations that the two had a romantic relationship, but Shelby denied this. So then,
naturally,
my question is, why do people always think you're sexually involved with anyone you spend a lot of time with?
That is an assumption because I've lived with several girlfriends, female roommates, several, and I loved it. One I lived with all the time for years. We always moved in together to each new place. People thought we were doing each other. So
that's basically like what best friends are, just someone you love so much and like being around because, you have a lot of stuff in common with this person. Y'all can talk a lot and everything. That doesn't mean you have to be like romantically involved. I just wish people would like get their heads out of their butthole when it comes to
I mean, but think about it. There's trust and you feel like you're family and it's really like a sister. That's it. I don't know why everyone thinks there's a lady pond dipping,
It's not even that. If it's two girls, they think, oh, are y'all together? No.
Yeah.
If it's a boy and a girl, oh, are y'all together? No. Like, the only people they don't do that with is if it's two guys. I just thought about that. If it's anything dealing with women, they ask of the women together. If it's two guys, they really don't say that.
No, that's not true because one of my exes, the one that I moved from New York to Las Vegas, Nevada, he lived with it. He just kept constantly living with this same guy, and he was his roommate, right? And his mother told me, before I die, we need to find out if my son is gay. She died, and I found out her son was gay for sure. And it was kind of like they finally just admitted it. Because I thought it was just weird. You know what I think it is, Ky? At a certain age, I don't think you should be accused of being, liking each other that way or being gay or whatever. But these guys were in their 30s and 40s, so that's a little weird to me. That you're still doing the roommate thing when you get to a certain, like of the same sex at a certain age. And I didn't say the same person. The same person.
Having a roommate is kind of
weird.
Well, yeah,
but I'm saying... Yeah, I know. I agree. And these guys, well, no, these guys were definitely in their 40s, their late 30s, 40s, and then into their 50s, and they still are to this day, by the way. But what I'm saying is, when it's the same sex and the same friend, the same person, then I have to wonder. When you're younger, when you were Brittany's age and Shelby, I really don't see why anyone would question it, because young girls are very close. When they're close, they're close. Young people. That's just they travel together. That's just what they do.
Yeah. Well, I was always close with
there.
guys. My best friend is a dude, so I've heard this my whole life. Is that your boyfriend? You should be with him. Have you had sex with him? Oh my god. So I'm usually more close to guys than I am with girls. But when my guys' friends are friends, they're friends. To this day, not to this day, but before my best friend got married, people would ask me, "Have you had sex with him? Do you want to be with him?" No, he's my best friend. He's like my brother. I couldn't even. Like, literally, if I think of sex with my best friend, I feel sick to my stomach. Not that he's ugly or anything. It's just he's in my heart as like my older brother. So it's like, no, ew, no. But anyway,
I totally understand that.
Yeah, so I've had that my whole life. They tried that with my daughter, like her when she was younger and she had a little friend who was a boy. Oh, is that your boyfriend? I said, if you ever say that to my daughter again, I'm going to smack you. Let my child be
You're
going
to say, no, me and Kai's coming out if you say that to my daughter again.
Nobody said it again because I was like, just let my child be a child. Good Lord.
Yeah.
But anyways, as with most kids, they're ready to move out of their parents' homes as soon as possible because for some reason they think being an adult is like so easy.
So fun.
Yeah, I can do whatever I want. You hear my daughter say that all the time. I can't wait to move out. I can do whatever I want. Okay. But then
good luck with that.
But then when they're out, they have trouble paying bills and being responsible because welcome to the real world. Well, Brittney was no different. Bill started stressing her out, paying rent stressed her out, and basically adulting stressed her out. Welcome to the real world. So, what do you think she did? Do you think she went back to her parents' house? No.
I'm going to say she started stealing.
No. She just started taking more drugs.
Like stealing things.
Which sounds rational.
Oh, that's going to help everything.
Yeah.
Jeez, that'll bring the money in for the rent.
I mean, yeah, right. So in the meantime, in 2016, Brittney's grandfather, Robert Whitwell, lived alone in the suburb of Adelaide, Australia. His wife, Joyce, at the time, was suffering from dementia, and she lived in a nursing home. So one day, he called his daughter. You know how old people do. They want to talk to their children. And his daughter is Brittney's mom. So they were just like talking like, how are you doing, Dad? How's the blood? Oh, wait. I got to do the Australian accent. Oh, good Lord.
Ahoy, mate.
What the hell is that? So
that's it. That's all I got.
I don't know how to do an Australian accent, so y'all got to bear with me. So they were like, how are you doing, Doc?
That was as bad as my ahoy, mate, so that's not going to work.
I don't know. How's the blood pressure? We're going to
Why did you summon the spirit of Crocodile Dundee? That would have really helped.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
So anyway, they were just having a regular conversation. Then Tanya got into a normal conversation with him. Oh, my gum. Hold on. My gum went in the wrong place in my mouth.
That's why we don't do podcasts with gum. Just listeners, please don't do these things at home. Oh my gosh. Wow. I mean, let's go back to our kiddie phase in school. Ky, no gum during the podcast. Now, just for that, you get no recess.
Anyway.
And I'm sending a note home to your mommy.
So Tanya then got into a regular conversation with him where it seemed like, you have an older parent and you're trying to now parent your parent. Have you noticed that happens when you get older? Your parent is older. Now you turn into the parent and you're parenting your parent.
Hello. I'm a full-time 24/7 caregiver over here.
Oh, yeah.
For two
that's
people.
True. That's true.
Yes.
So anyway, she's trying to tell her dad that, he needs to put his money in the bank. And you know how old people are. They just don't trust their money to be in the hands of the man, meaning the bank.
Oh, yeah.
So he's telling her, no, I'm not putting my money in the bank. So Tanya asks him, Dad, how much money do you have sitting around the house?
That was pretty good, except you sounded more like you were on the other side of the pond.
I don't know.
You know,
I don't know
England.
what that was. I'm trying.
In England, married out England. Yeah, that's what you just.
Well, I'm trying.
You must have
Anyway,
suddenly traveled.
to which
that
he
direction.
replied,
Okay.
"You don't need to know all my business." No, that was Southern. Wait a second. You don't need to know all my business, young girl. But I have
That was Jethro. That was Jethro.
I don't know. But I have much more than $100,000. Tanya was like, "In your house? Suppose a drug dealer knew you had this much. What do you think they would do?" Robert said, "Don't worry. It's not out in the open in my house. It's hidden out in my shed. What do you take me for? I've been alive longer than you, and I know what I'm doing." Tanya said,
"Yeah, but if you're so smart, why would you tell her where it was in the shed, Dad?"
"That's
Sorry.
his daughter."
I had a flashback too. Okay.
Tanya said, "Okay, Dad, I'm not going to argue with you." Now, I don't know why Tanya is kind of like British mixed with something, and her dad's from the South, but just go with it.
Okay, we're going to go with it. But I thought her name was Bridget.
Tanya is Brittney's mom.
Oh, that's right.
So
okay,
the grandfather is Robert.
It,
Tanya is Brittney's mom, and then the show is about Brittney. Good Lord, keep up. But anyway,
yeah, I'm here.
What
I'm
Tanya
here.
didn't realize was that it wasn't a drug dealer she had to worry about. It was actually her own daughter, Brittney, who wanted to steal this money. So Brittney overheard this conversation, and she left her mom's house, and she went home with thoughts of easy money and how to get her hands on it. Now, if she were to get her hands on $100,000, like think about an 18-year-old now who has no idea what responsibility is or whatever. So she's thinking, if I were to get my hands on $100,000, that would last a lifetime, right? I'd never have to work again. Oh my God, $100,000. Yes, let's do this. So she went back home and she sat down with Shelby and told her all about this money. And here goes my accent again.
Okay, listeners, brace yourselves.
"Hey, Shelb, all we have to do is drive to Adelaide and get the money. My papa would never know." Shelby was like, "Do you know how far that is?" "Yeah, let's hop in the car right now and get it. Can you imagine how much money this is?" So Brittney ended up convincing Shelby to drive to Brisbane, or from Brisbane to Adelaide. So now we're in the United States. I know we have some listeners in Australia, but for the ones that are not in Australia, you're thinking Brisbane to Adelaide, that's what, 30 minutes maybe? You would be completely wrong. This is about a 1,200-mile drive, 1,246-mile drive, meaning... And
that's
I'm saying
like
it
East
in miles
Coast to the West Coast, right?
I'm saying it in miles, so
like...
it's not in the metric system. So let's break it down to hours. That would take about 22 hours to drive. So it wasn't in the backyard. And yes, like you said, that was like from the south to the north. That's like from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Would I make it all the way to Atlanta, maybe, or would I have to go further to PA? That's really far.
You would.
What do you think?
No, you would make it to PA, I believe. I think from...
Oh, my God.
I think from
so far.
PA to Florida, like the tip of Florida, is 21 hours.
Okay, that's a very far drive.
Yeah.
Or a fly or drive, but obviously they're flying their kids. I mean, not
driving,
flying.
Yeah.
Obviously they're driving their kids. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for me to drive from here to California, there and it's my friend who jumps in my house like, "Hey, let's do this." There's basically no one on this planet who would convince me to do this drive unless it's for like some amazing reason. There has to be a good reason.
That is an amazing reason.
Stealing
$100,000
is not one of those reasons. No, I'm not going cross country with you to steal from your grandfather. You do that shit on your own.
There you go, letting the ethical side of yourself come
what?
out.
I have that bad habit. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
But it is a 3.5-day trip, though. I'll say that. You've got to stop in a hotel or two. It's a lot to do.
Not
it's
as
not
youngsters.
simple.
As when I was younger, I would drive from Texas to PA all the time.
You're kidding. Okay, that's another show, everyone. That's going to go along with our show of Ky and I with our really strange childhoods. Okay.
But at my age now, there's no frickin' way. got back pains and shit. Like, there's no way I can do that.
Oh, I got a bad hip over
You're right.
here in New Mexico.
Anyway, they made the drive, parked close to the house, and sat there observing Robert to see when he would be out of the house. So the next evening, so they were just there for a freaking whole day. The next evening, while he was gone, they went into the yard by climbing over the fence. They like used this milk crate to climb over the fence. And then they desperately tried to get into the shed, but the shed was locked because Robert's not a moron. So
yeah, most sheds are locked.
They ended up having to stop when a light came on in the yard. And I'm thinking it's one of those automatic lights when they detect movement or something. You know what I'm saying? And then at the same time, the neighbor's dog started barking. So they got really scared.
Oh, no. That's crazy.
Yeah, they figured this was calling like unnecessary attention to them. And so they ran away and left. After this incident, some time went by. And Brittney ended up meeting this 22-year-old woman. Her name was Bernadette Burns. What do they call her? BB? Bernadette Burns? I wouldn't call her Bernadette. I'd call her BB.
Okay.
Anyways. Bernadette was a very, very stressed out woman. She was depressed and she was just trying to make ends meet. So why was she depressed? Because at 17, she'd lost custody of her daughter. And once you lose custody of your child, if you really care about your kid, that basically led her into a spiral from depression into drug addiction. So they had those two things in common, depression and addicted to drugs. And drug addicts usually hang out with other drug addicts. In August of 2016, Brittney again tried to steal her grandfather's money. This time, however, she convinced her new friend, Bernadette, to drive her the 1,200 miles. My question is, why can't she ever just drive by herself? Why does she keep bringing people in?
Maybe she doesn't want to drive by herself, Ky. She might not be a driver.
Well, this time I guess Shelby was like, F that, I ain't going. Like we went last time. No. So she convinced Bernadette to do it. And I don't know how she convinces people. I don't know how I would convince somebody, hey, I want to drive from here, PA, to Los Angeles so I could steal my granddaddy's money. You with me?
Huh? She's not going to tell the other person that.
No,
She's
she
just
told them
say,
that. She told them that.
Oh.
So
I thought it was a girls' trip, Ky. That's what I'm thinking.
No.
So I wouldn't have told them.
They knew what
trip!
they were getting into. And even if it was a girls' trip, you come to me, you're like, hey, Ky, let's drive to Las Vegas. I'm like, are you out your freaking mind? I'm not driving. We could jump in a plane. I'm driving to Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's for sure. We can definitely jump in a plane like these days.
Yeah.
Why would I drive? I mean, I don't know. That's kind of weird. But back then, it wasn't like you had the same conveniences.
It was only 2016. So. It's not like it was freaking 19.
Oh, God, that's right. It was less than 5 years ago. Jeez. I make it sound like it was back in the day.
Anyways, Brittney's motto for this trip was basically to, quote, do whatever was necessary to steal her grandfather's savings, unquote. That was the motto for the trip. Instead of just robbing him, though, this time they planned on killing him as well. I don't understand why. Robbing wasn't enough.
Why? That's what I'm saying. I mean, why? First of all, he might have been asleep. You could have let him sleep and take all his life, his retirement. I mean, that's a terrible thing to do.
It's a terrible thing, yeah.
It is a really terrible thing. You only save all your life for your retirement, and you have to have security in your old age. But you're not dead. Like, I can just do it while you're asleep. Oh my God! Or if I knew you had some doctor's appointments, it shouldn't take that long to get a shed open.
Man,
get your
my
pliers
thing
and
is, why didn't she
wire
just ask
cutters
him for some money? If you just really needed money that bad, ask your grandfather. Hey, grandpappy, can I?
Well, she could have said, "Can I have $30,000?" and then she takes the $100,000. That's still bad, but at least she got permission.
Or when you die, can you leave the money to me? I really, really need money. I mean, that's so rude to ask for, but still, it's better than killing, stealing, and all that stuff.
Well, she can't ask when you die. What if the man was healthy as a horse for his age?
Well,
what if he wasn't?
You'll find out how old he was. But still, a grandfather? Well, no, because a grandmother could still be in their 40s, so.
They can easily be in their 40s. She wasn't that old herself. She was a young woman.
Yeah, but you'll find out how old he was.
So,
anyway, when they arrived at the house, Brittney suddenly had a change of, I say, quote unquote, heart. Because,
right.
Heart, for lack of a better term. She said She ended up getting cold feet. She felt incredibly insecure and didn't think she can go through with the murder. Bernadette said, "Bump that. I drove all the way here. I wasted money on gas. I put miles on my car. I'm not leaving empty-handed. You must be out your mind." So,
yeah, 'cause she needs to be reimbursed for all that gas.
right?
You know?
So for about
Price of
20
gas
minutes,
has gone up in 2016.
look, gas ain't cheap. And I just drove cross country. We're getting something.
You sure did. You sure did.
So for about 20 minutes, Bernadette sat in the car with Brittney, trying to convince her to go into the house and do what they came here to do. Finally, at about 11 a.m., Brittney knocked on her grandfather's door. He answered the door, happy to see his lovely, lovely granddaughter, who he fell in love with the moment she was born. He loved that girl. He, of course, invited her into the house. Brittney went inside the house wearing gloves and carrying a knife. I guess she had the knife hidden because I don't think he would just be like, "Why do you have that knife? No, come on in."
Right.
She was also carrying a bag with bolt cutters, tin snips, a hammer, gloves, and cable ties. Bernadette, in the meantime, waited in the car and sat there playing with her makeup. You know, she was probably like, "Oh, yes, this red goes really good on my cheeks and maybe some blue will go on my eyes." Just playing with makeup. I don't know why she turned Southern, by the way. Anyways, Brittney said her grandfather sat on the couch and began going through photographs and videos of Brittney and her brother when they were children, like all grandparents do. They even sat to have breakfast together. Like, that was such a sweet grandfather. You know he woke up. He woke up early and he had breakfast already. But his granddaughter came over, so he had a second breakfast.
Yeah.
Anyways, after some time, Brittney sent a text to Bernadette saying that she couldn't actually go through with the plan. But Bernadette answered saying, "Just harden up and do it." She also reminded Brittney that her mother would know she had visited her grandfather, so she should just get on with it. Which my thing is, so my mom knows I visited my grandfather. I mean, I'm guessing she would be happy that you visited your grandfather. But
yeah, so now I gotta kill you now because I came to visit.
But I guess if she stole the money, her mom might suspect her, right? I don't think so. Maybe her mom might not suspect her. Maybe her mom might suspect, like she said, drug dealers came to the house. I don't think her mother would ever think that Brittney would drive 22 hours just to rob her grandfather. So
no, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I would definitely go with the random robbers.
Yeah. So I think the whole "your mom will know that you were there" thing is stupid. So anyway, after spending some time with her grandfather, Robert walked her to the door to say goodbye and give his granddaughter a hug and a kiss, like grandparents do. As they got closer to the door, Brittney pulled out her knife she had brought with her and stabbed her grandfather in the neck. Robert spun around and put his hands on her neck, but like not choking her, but just shaking her like, "Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?" And Brittney stabbed him in the chest and then in the neck again, and then just stood back and watched. And Robert started...
So she put the friend up to the actual act itself. That's what it sounds like to me.
What?
She put the friend...
No,
the friend
she did it herself.
Stabbing.
The friend is still in the car.
Okay.
So, you know, now Robert is like bleeding and everything, and he just started walking slowly back into the kitchen, and he grabbed some Band-Aids. He's probably in shock. So Brittney walked over and helped him put bandages on his wound. She even put like a little Band-Aid on the stab wound on his neck. As her grandfather slowly sat down, losing life, slowly dying, Brittney went and washed the dishes. After she dried her hands, she texted Bernadette with a message saying, "It's done." So Bernadette came into the house wearing gloves, and then they both searched for the money. And in the end, they were unable to find the $100,000 because it was in the shed and not in the house. But they found $1,000 in Robert's wallet, so they took that, along with some coins and 2 digital cameras.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. An hour after the murder, while they were driving home, Bernadette posted on Facebook and said, quote, "The story of my life. I knew better, but I did it anyway." What is with people like texting and
social media?
Like, are you serious?
Mm-hmm. Telling all their every move. I just went to make a bologna sandwich. Okay, I just went to the bathroom. You know, I just fed my dog. Like, I'm over at this particular restaurant right now. Hello. Like you could, well, they, even investigators and authorities and cops and policemen, all that, they say the same thing. They live for social media because they know that people will incriminate themselves so easily.
What a bunch of idiots.
Just telling all their business. That's just how it is. We live in that age of information and people wanting to share. You can share too much. You can share your way to prison. Basically.
Yeah. So, listeners, I'm going to share this with you. I just got a text from Char. She said, I thought the main character was Bernadette, and you keep saying Brittney. So, let's clarify something on air. The main character is Brittney Dwyer. She met Bernadette well after she even tried to rob her grandfather the first time. Are we up to date now? Are we good?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I was definitely having a little moment.
Okay.
Yes, I'm good.
This is Brittany's grandfather, not Bernadette. Brittney.
Okay. Brittany's grandfather.
Okay. We're good? We can get back?
Yes,
okay.
Please do.
The case of Brittney Dwyer, take 26. All right. So when they got back to Brisbane, they sat down and relaxed with their roommates. So I guess Bernadette had roommates. Their name was Jody Greaves and Jamie Dennis. And while they're just relaxing, Brittney just blurted out something weird. So the roommate said that Brittney said that her uncle had died in Perth, which is another city, due to a home invasion. And she just blurted it out. Like they were talking about, maybe we should have a party this weekend. We should bring punch. You should bring chips. And what band will we play?
I bring the cheese dip and my uncle was hurt. What?
And then everybody was like, okay. And then right after that, Bernadette walked up to Jody and whispered, can I tell you something? But you can't tell anyone other than Jamie? And Jamie was like, okay, why are y'all acting so weird? And then Bernadette confessed that the reason they went to Adelaide was to rob Brittany's grandfather of his money. And Jody was like, okay. And then later on, Jody remembered a conversation with Brittany the night before she went to Adelaide that Brittany nonchalantly said to her that she was going to go murder her granddad. Why do these people keep telling people things?
But why do they keep telling on each other and telling on themselves?
Yeah, if you go back through all our shows, you'll see that these idiots keep telling anyone who's going to listen that they've killed someone or they're going to kill someone. And the other mistake they do is text messages. They text message each other plans. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, so it's CSI, which I worked at the fake CSI. You knew that Ky is a model for years. At MGM Grand Casino in Resort in Las Vegas. But it's called digital evidence. But you know what's so funny to me is that it's not even an age thing. I thought it was maybe when you're younger, you just tell all your business, text all your business, or yap about it. But we do so many cases, and it doesn't matter what age you are. Dumb is dumb. And for some reason, it's America's dumbest criminals all the time that get caught. And so that's just what they do.
So anyway, even though she told Jody this, Jody didn't take it seriously because I guess a lot of people wouldn't take that seriously. I would just think you're a freaking weirdo. So she just thought Brittany was joking and probably was like, ha 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 ha. Okay.
I mean, I don't see what's so funny about it, but okay, they thought so.
No, that's what I was saying. She was just doing like one of those fake laughs, like, ha ha ha. Yeah. And looking at her all weird, like, So soon she would actually find out this was not a joke at all. 3 days later, Robert's neighbors noticed that his newspapers were piling up in front of his house, so they thought they'd better go check on him. And that's when they found Robert's body slumped in a chair. He'd bled to death with a simple bandage stuck to his neck. So police were called out, and while doing a search of the premises, they found $98,000 hidden in the shed and $30,000 hidden in the house. So, 2 things I learned from this. Number 1, he actually had $128,000 hidden on the premises. And number 2, children are always children, are always children, are always children. What do I mean by that? Well, have you ever asked your child to go look for something? They come back, they said they looked really, really well, but they didn't find anything. But then when you go and look, you find it sitting like right there in front of the door.
It's right there.
Even a blind man can find it. Yeah, well, that was Brittany and Shelby. And that was Shelby once and Brittany twice and Bernadette once. So
what I'm trying to understand is how did they not find it, the $98,000 in the shed?
Well, remember they couldn't get in the shed But he still had
Oh, that's right.
30,000
Yeah.
in the house. How
Yeah.
did you
But
not
he
find
had.
that either?
Yeah.
So basically, they
Yeah.
killed this
That's
guy
crazy.
for nothing.
For absolutely nothing.
So
But my thing is, but how can you not get in the shed? I thought you said she had an arsenal with her of not weapons, but didn't she have a wire cutter or what you say it was? She had a pliers. She had something. She had some items with her, and I thought that was to open the shed. So what? Tell me again what she did bring with
I
her.
mean, yeah, she had some items with her. But I don't know. I don't know why she didn't use it. Let me see. Hold on.
Oh my God! I thought it was maybe it was wire cutters because that's what I said originally. That she would definitely need that. I thought that's what you said. Because I mean, if you have those wire cutters, hello, you can open it
So
up.
she had a bag with bolt cutters, tin snips, a hammer, gloves, and cable ties. That's what she had.
For crying out loud, some of the bolt cutters would cut the wire or the bolt that's on the lock. I mean,
I really don't know what she was
oh my
doing.
gosh.
Clearly, these girls are
That's ridiculous.
just
Dingbats.
yeah, basically. So
America's dumbest
after
criminals. They
police
go into the
disclosed how
archives.
much money was found, Brittney and Bernadette did the only thing you would think to do in a situation such as this. So, Shar, what do you think that was?
I can't imagine what. Well, everyone thinks they're lesbians. Maybe they kissed goodbye.
No.
I don't know.
So, when they found out how much money was found, they started texting each other. Brittney texts Bernadette saying, "What?
You idiot."
She texts this, $114,000 found in the shed. You should have let me finish. That's what she said.
Wow. No remorse, in other
No.
words.
So let's reverse a bit. When Robert's body was found, the cops called Tanya to tell her that her father had died. Tanya then called Brittney to tell her, she said this, quote, "The cops have just wrong and Papa had just passed away." Brittney was actually still on the road at the time, and she started crying hysterically because her mom recalled that she started crying hysterically. Now, this is where I'm confused. It was like 3 days later. Why the hell was she still on the road home?
Because it's a 3.5 hour trip.
Hour?
3.5 day trip.
It's 22 hours.
Okay, No, but see, but the average person stops at a hotel for at least five hours before they get back on the road, and then you stop at a rest stop for at least 3 or 4 hours, and then you stop to eat, and then you stop to go to the gas station. There's no way you can do that, and you can't. Usually, I've done that trip so many times. And I've drove it myself when I was younger, so you can't generally do that in less than 28 hours, which is well, that sounds like just one day or so. But you split it up, though. Do you see what I'm saying? It should take 3 days no matter which way you look at it. It should definitely take 3 days. So she should have still been on the road. Because you can't do it straight through, Ky. You just can't do it. You got to break it up. So the point is, how dumb are you? I mean, goodness. Like, oh my God. And she tried to be so, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, that's terrible news. I can't believe it.
So anyway, her mom told her that she needed to fly down to Adelaide to be with the family during this difficult time. And sometime after this is when the amount of money found was disclosed. So we've now caught up. So in the days that followed, Brittney grieved, quote unquote, grieved with her family. The only thing that her mom found weird about, how she was acting was that she started chain smoking. But, it could have been like, well, she's stressed out that her grandfather died. Because like I said, her grandfather loved her very much. So that's the only thing that changed in her demeanor, the mom said.
You can chain smoke from guilt also.
Well, yes, we know that. Well, I don't think she was guilty. I think she was just scared of getting caught. But we know that. But her mom figured maybe it was from, just the stress of her grandfather dying.
Yeah, because he loved her
so
much.
During this time, Ryan, which is Brittney's brother, his birthday came around. And the family spent the day at one of their grandfather's favorite places. The family didn't want to miss out on Ryan's birthday, so they figured, like, if Robert were still alive, he wouldn't have wanted them to miss this time. So they incorporated him by going to one of his favorite spots. There's actually a picture of Brittney and Ryan on that day. Ryan looks happy, but he's actually still sad that his grandfather is gone. Brittney, the murderer, is playing around and looking happy as well. So, Char, you saw this picture.
Yeah,
This is after she murdered
that's
her
pretty
grandfather.
crazy.
So I'll actually post this picture to our Facebook page. Just go ahead and search in Facebook, search at Relationship Crime, all one word, and you'll find our Love and Murder page. So I'm going to go ahead and post that picture there so you can see what I'm talking about. Weeks went by, and Brittney and Bernadette thought they'd gotten away with murder. And they probably would have if it wasn't for an anonymous tip to the police.
You're
On
kidding.
August 26th, both Brittney and Bernadette were arrested. The tip also led police to Shelby. In court, how do you think Brittney pled?
Not guilty.
Wrong. Much to my surprise, she actually pled guilty.
Wow.
Yeah, so in pretrial, Brittney said the motivation was for the murder actually came from the TV show American Horror Story. Now, I've heard of this show, but I've never watched it.
I've
Have you
heard
ever
of it
seen it?
only once, and I did not know that.
She said that's where it came from, the motivation. So on the show, apparently it shows like gruesome crimes with different characters in different locations. I've never watched it. I know it's out there, but I've never watched it. Now, as part of Brittney's own defense, she claimed that the murder was also in large part motivated by the fact that her grandfather had. How do you think this is going to end?
I don't know. It's so much suspense up until this point. I can't even
she
imagine.
said, in her own defense, she said she basically killed her grandfather in large part because her grandfather had, I want a drum roll, sexually molested her, which, according to her mother and her granduncle, was impossible to have ever happened. The court ended up dismissing this because there was absolutely no evidence to back this up, and clearly it was a panic accusation just thrown out for sympathy. In court evidence was presented of 19,000 text messages between Bernadette, Brittney, and, of course, Shelby. Over the course of 2 years, well, the initial text was between Brittney and Shelby. 2 years discussing killing people at rave parties or going on rampaging and slitting throats. Shelby said that these messages were, they're just a joke. You shouldn't take that seriously. We just watched a lot of horror movies and we would just joke about doing these things. This is not serious. It was also disclosed that Brittney actually suffered from borderline personality disorder, antisocial traits, and issues with rage. In addition to smoking an ounce of weed a day, she said that she coupled that with a bottle of vodka, cocaine, and ecstasy.
Oh, she had a lot of trouble. A lot of demons. That's terrible.
Well, the prosecution actually said this statement was an exaggeration and a cover-up for her real intentions of murdering Robert. They said, quote, the amount of drugs she was talking about taking is near impossible. She talked about smoking an ounce or 28 grams of cannabis a day. She even hardened cannabis users would normally smoke an ounce in a week. So basically what they're saying is, stop the excuses, you're a horrible woman.
Right.
Bernadette presented that she had never intended for Mr. Whitwell to be killed or harmed, but would have chosen violence if it were necessary. And I'm like, violence against just a sweet old man? If it was necessary?
How would it ever be necessary?
Right.
He would probably fight back with a marshmallow if he had to.
So, Justice Kevin Nicholson described Brittney's offense as evil and abhorrent. He said that she remained a danger to the community, which I completely agree with. In closing arguments, the judge said she was motivated by greed, agreed, and, quote, an unnatural interest with violence and with seeing people die. This murder was brutal, callous, cold-blooded, and dispassionately planned, unquote. And then, I agree with this. He also said, quote, strangely, you assisted Mr. Whitwell to apply a Band-Aid to one of his cuts and used the cloth to help clean off some of the blood. While you were waiting for him to die, you busied yourself washing the dishes, unquote.
I don't know what that was about.
I don't know.
I
think
she didn't even clean off the blood off the carpet or something.
I think she was just trying to do something while he was dying.
Distract herself.
Not distract herself. She was just bored and doing something while he was dying.
You're bored while someone's bleeding out?
Have you listened to the story at all?
Yes, I certainly have.
Okay,
And it was
so
definitely a very interesting story.
because Brittney pled guilty to murder, she didn't have to stand trial. Bernadette pled guilty to murder without intent. Now, is this the same as the Alford plea? This is where a defendant who doesn't admit to the criminal act and asserts innocence. So basically, she was like, yeah, I was there, but I didn't know she was going to do that. Do you think it's the same thing? Pleading guilty to murder without intent is the same as the Alford plea?
No, if you're saying that, if I said, I'm not, I probably would say I was there, but I didn't know this was going to happen. So that's a not guilty.
Nope, she pled guilty to murder without intent.
But what I'm saying is, was that the explanation?
No, I'm asking because that's the Alford plea, which is the defendant doesn't want to admit to the criminal act, and so they say they're innocent. But I don't know if you can say I plead guilty to murder, but I'm innocent of the act of murder. I don't know. So murder without intent means, to me, it sounds like it's like, yeah, you're guilty of murder, but I didn't mean to murder this person.
Okay, well, that's possible. There's a clause there, but that's possible. I don't know if that falls under the Alfred law, though. I don't know.
Well,
because I thought that was more like, you guys are saying that I'm guilty, but no, that would be contested if you said, no, I'm not guilty. But
right.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
well,
once you agree to it,
get from this is clearly we're both lawyers. So,
right.
Ryan, Brittney's brother, asked the court if his sister and Bernadette could receive the maximum penalty allowed by law for their crimes. He said in a court document that was read out loud in court, quote, "My grandfather, Robert Whitwell, was a proud and given family man. He always went above and beyond for anyone in need. The upset and anguish that you have both cast upon the Whitwell and Dwyer families is unforgivable." Supreme Court Justice Kevin Nicholson sentenced Brittney to life with a non-parole period of 20.5 years.
Whoa.
She also received an additional 6 months for the home invasion, bringing her total jail time to 21 years.
26 or 21, okay.
And this is also
months, right?
Before she becomes eligible for parole. Bernadette received life imprisonment with a non-parole period of 13 and a half years for the murder because she was found to not have murderous intent, which I call bullshit on that because there was evidence that she pushed Brittney to commit the murder. But
there is, but also they had 3 days to think about this, so they both were guilty. I'm sorry. You had 3 days to say, you know what, I don't feel good about this. I mean, at any point you can just get out the car, just go to the police for help, ask them to get you back home, let you start your life over afresh, and you just don't want to have anything to do with this. But you had several days before and after. Well, before, I'm sorry, because once it's done and you're on your way back, it's done. So no, I don't know I don't know how they got the difference of the 13 years and then the 20 point, not
so
quite 21. So
Brittney got the most, I guess, because she actually did the murder. Bernadette got the least because she sat in the car. So I don't know. Shelby got even less than that, though.
Yeah.
Shelby was given a 17-month suspended sentence for trespassing in Robert's house, when they first went over to rob him. So Brittney and Bernadette are currently alive in prison in South Australia, and Robert is dead. By the way, Brittney was 19 when the murder happened, and Robert was 81.
Oh my God.
What?
He was older.
Yeah, what a butthole. Yeah. So Robert's neighbors had told the media that 4 days after Robert was found dead, they'd seen Brittney outside his house just hanging around. Quote, "She was on her phone, sitting in the gutter outside the home. I'm still scratching my head wondering what happened in there and why," unquote. So basically, she was sitting around looking nonchalant, probably while her family were in the house dealing with the death of their beloved grandfather/father. And she was just outside chilling on the phone and stuff. Brittney's mother has often spoken to the media saying that her daughter got what she got because she is guilty, has pled guilty, and has admitted to the murder. So basically, I'm happy with the outcome. That's basically what her mom said. In 2017, Brittney put out an apology statement in which she said that she would take it all back if she could. Also, in her apology, she lashed out at Shelby for saying that they were not a couple and that they were only friends, which it sounds like she basically made a statement so that Shelby could hear what she had to say instead of trying to make the statement an apology. She just wanted Shelby to say, "How dare you lie that we weren't a couple?"
Yeah.
That's stupid. Anyways, and then I actually found something else on YouTube, posted in this comments of this other podcast called Murder, Mystery, and Mayhem. So in the comments of his video, someone said, quote, "I actually went to primary school and high school with Brittney, years 6 to 8 or 9 before she left. I can't remember which year exactly. I was never really involved with her during primary school, but in high school she used to follow me home, often trying to catch up to me and talk to me. She always had a very off-putting energy around her, like I should be cautious. She just seemed very strange, I guess. She would expose her chest to me randomly and generally talk about some really strange things. I started walking a different way home in an effort to avoid her. She would never approach me during school, likely because I was always surrounded by my friends then. I think she had some serious mental issues from a young age that her parents may never have noticed. I was young and barely knew her, but these interactions may have been a cry for help. I never noticed due to being immature or knowing no better. I'm not sure, and it's such a strange feeling that I knew a future murderer. It's a shame it came to this, but she never got the help she needed in time. It's no excuse, of course, and she still deserves to be punished for the murder, but I believe it could have been prevented if she got the help she needed in time, instead of being surrounded by similarly mentally dysfunctional people leading her deeper into darkness." Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Quite a statement.
And that's Brittney Dwyer and Robert Whitwell. Whew. So,
Wow.
what do you think of this story?
It was, you know what, Kai? It actually, it was so different than how I thought it would develop. It was actually a lot more intense than I expected, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because I couldn't even imagine which way it was going to go, but it's kind of like, wow, the things that she just haphazardly just decided to do or not do and not pay attention to, it was just like, nothing matters to me. I don't have to have any responsibility of anything. I do what I want, and I don't think first. And I drag other people into it, and I don't care. And there's no remorse in my end. I still feel like I could have probably done worse. That's just, oh man. What's so sad too, is when you're that young for your whole entire existence to be done. That's it. That's it. There is no life out here and no opportunities to blossom and flourish and be what you want to be and have a family or have a life and have experiences. That's it. You just killed everything. No pun intended. You just ruined everything about your life. I don't understand it.
Choices.
She did, but every now and again we will find these cases like this where the person just has a cold, black heart. And you know what? That kind of makes sense though, because look at what was happening when she was so young, with her friend Shelby. Like they were just kids. They were just kids. And unfortunately, see, as a parent, I feel like you really should, if there's a way that you can try to pay more attention to your kids, for your listeners, as parents, I understand if you have more than a few children, it's not easy, but it's important because had she caught that dark side of her from the beginning and got some help, it could have made a huge difference in the decisions and choices that she made in her future. Because look what happened. I believe if she got help with the self-harm and all the dark energy and all of that, and even her friend, you can be responsible for your children's friends. You don't have to allow your kids to just hang out with whoever they want to. I don't care if they get upset with you. So what?
Exactly.
Opposed to ruining their entire future, killing someone that meant so much to your family, someone that even they loved, initially for their entire lives, and someone that loved them with everything. You're hurting so many more people than me just saying, you're not going to see Susie anymore, or I need to meet her parents, or what are you guys doing? Why is your door closed? Why are you, dibbling and dabbling in this or that, or why are you dressing this way, or listening to this type of music, or, whatever it is. Like, you have to pay attention to your kids. You can't just let them raise themselves, because guess what? This is what happens. You know?
Yeah, not saying the mother didn't pay attention to Brittney though.
We're
You don't
not
know.
saying that, but because we weren't
It could have
there,
been that
but
Brittney just really
yeah,
needed
help.
counseling. Like
Yeah.
it's like no matter how much attention her mom spent, because her mom only had 2 kids. I'm pretty sure she spent time with both of them, and the son is fine.
The
So
son, her brother. I mean, they didn't talk as much about him, but obviously he's okay. But when you're defiant, you're defiant. And sometimes all the counseling in the world, all the nurturing, all the help and support is just not going to change, the way that you think and the decisions that you make. So at the end of the day, you are your own person. You have to be responsible for what you do, no matter how terrible it is.
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that case
anyways.
definitely threw me for a loop, though. I would say that. Yeah, it did. It really did.
So
Oh, well, so that's what we
we
for
have
this
reached
week.
the end. Yep, and you already
Mhm.
know if you like this episode, go to Apple Podcasts, hit that purple button, and give us 5 stars. Like I said, you're either going to run to Apple Podcasts and rate this, or you're going to run away from this show because that was crazy. Say whatever you want in the comments, like saying Brittney is crazy, or I know y'all heard that lawnmower in the beginning with Char. We were trying to like talk over it so y'all didn't hear it, but I know y'all
Yeah,
heard it.
if you guys
So
heard
can-
it, then definitely comment below. I heard it. You guys think you're fooling us. We decided, okay, we kind of made 2 executive decisions. A, we're just gonna talk about it. We're just gonna talk about it because other podcasts do. B, we're just gonna ignore it. We're just gonna ignore it, and that's what we did. Because you know what happened? I don't think we planned to ignore it. I think we planned to talk about it, but what happened was it actually stopped sooner than we expected. Because when it's happened before, if you guys have, some of you that have followed us from the very beginning of Love and Murder, we had an incident about 6 months ago where I had a lawnmower incident. It went on forever. And then Ky had one right behind me, and she lives in a whole another part of the United States. When we talked about the 1,200-mile thing, so that's where she is, and I'm like, what are the chances? So it kind of like stopped sooner than we expected. We were so happy, but at the same time, we kind of wanted to touch upon the fact that there's a lawnmower guy out there. Shut up. It's so annoying, but you know what? It just makes everything beautiful, and green and clean. So what can you do? But yeah, it wasn't too bad as I expected, though, but that's pretty funny. We didn't even notice. We didn't even acknowledge it, but I know you guys heard it, so let us know.
Yeah. So basically, if you go in and give us those 5-star ratings, and you have to say something in the comment, that's why I say whatever you want. It actually helps us get more visible and lets other true crime listeners find our podcast. So that would definitely help us out. Don't forget to visit us on our YouTube and become a subscriber and wait for the craziness that we're about to drop, which is just crazy bonus episodes that you won't find on this particular podcast, but you will definitely find over there. So go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube. You can find the link in the show notes below. Follow us on social media, which is facebook.com/relationship crime, Instagram @Love Murder Podcast, and our Facebook fan group, which is Love and Murder fan page. Just search Love and Murder fan page in Facebook. Don't forget, we have all your true crime merch at loveandmurder.threadless.com. So we have mugs. We have mugs dripping with blood. We have stickers. What do you call those things?
Magnets. We have magnets and T-shirts too.
T-shirts, pillows, blankets, duvets, shower curtains. Dude, we have
cell phone covers. My favorite.
Just go to loveandmurder.threadless.com to get your true crime merch. And as always, a especially free way that you can help us out is by basically sharing this episode with your friend. Just go ahead and hit the share button and share it to your social media. Share it to your Facebook, share it to your Instagram, share it to your Pinterest, share it to your Twitter, share it to whatever other social media there is out there, because according to my daughter, I'm old and I don't know all the social media platforms. So just share it. It takes 2 minutes and it helps us out a lot. So after this episode, hug your children. Grandparents, hug your grandchildren. If they walk into your house with gloves and a bag, kick them right back out.
Yes, kick them out. Lock the door.
And then call their parents.
Double bolts on. Exactly.
But as I always want to remind y'all, let's not kill our grandparents because it's all love,
All love and no murder.
y'all. Peace.
Goodbye. Have a great week.